Welcome back. We'll be starting the newspaper reviews with The Nation. Major headline, Yelwata, Akume, Yahaya, Sani rally north for Tinubu. First Lady's RHI lifts Benue attack victims with 1 billion naira. Transcorp Group raked in 379.7 billion in HI. FIRS halts tax exemption to firms, NGOs in FTZs. A patient's discharge as nurses join doctor strike in Lagos. Respond to AG's queries, 210 trillion cash, Senate tells NNPCL. PDP ADC lock horns in supremacy battle. Federal government gives automatic employment to 200 outstanding youth corps members. What stories do we have in The Nation?
Okay, the First Lady. So peace has gradually returned to Benue State following President's June 18th visit. And this is according to the paramount ruler Tortiv. So it was Makurdi yesterday during the visit by the First Lady, Senator Tinubu. She was there to condole with the family, condole with the state, over the attack and killings that happened in Yelwata. The governor, as we know, has insisted that the establishment of a state police would go a long way in preventing invasion of herders into the in their communities. The wife of the president donated 1 billion naira to assist the rehabilitation of victims of various attacks in the state who are now living in IDP camps. The ruler specifically said that her visit, was a way of, has brought them some relief, and they were happy that she had come to visit. He talked about how the state of affairs has been. He says, while the attacks by militia and bandits have not completely stopped, we can report that there has been some noticeable improvement in security. And he says her presence reflects not only her strategic support as a former senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, but also her motherly and compassionate response to moments of distress in our nation. He highlighted her initiatives in health, social investment, agriculture, care for orphans, IDPs, persons living with disabilities, and the elderly. He says all this have not gone unnoticed. Appreciated the First Lady for her numerous interventions in Benue schools, as well as her economic empowerment program. So, he really painted a sad picture of, the communities in Benue State. Farmers have been driven away from their land, from their farms,
ancestral homes,
hunger everywhere. But, the intervention of the president and, with also her humanitarian interventions, they're just looking forward to a brighter and better future for Benue.
I bring news from Ibadan. The Olubado designates, we lost the late Olubado, and so the vacancy, the stool is presently vacant. But there's a designate because it's about age for those who are eligible to title. So the Olubado designate, Oba Rashidi Ladoja, said that he wasn't around when the late Olubado passed, but he's back. And while playing host to the Ashikpa Olubado of Ibadan land, Oba Abiodun Koladaisi, on Monday at his home, he mentioned that he commiserated with the people of Ibadan and said, reiterated that he was not around. And when the late Olubado, Oba Olakuleyin, joined his ancestors, but that he believes that he lived an impactful life. And one of the things he will prioritize is filling vacant positions in the Olubado chieftaincy line. So some Olubados, some of the Obas in the Olubado chieftaincy line must have passed, or vacant. Some stools are vacant, and I will prioritize putting in place. All of them had been elevated by the former governor. So everybody's Oba, but there's still hierarchy. Okay. And so he would feel that he was quoted by his media aide, Madiola Oloko, who spoke about it. And also the family of the late Olubado has announced that burial rites would commence soon, as soon as they get the approval of the governor of Oyo State, Governor Seyi Makinde. They have announced that the state burial would hold at least on Friday, the 8th of August. The church service, the interment would be held at the cathedral at St. Paul's, Aremo, Ibadan. And that will be at 10 a.m. And they said there will be an official 21-day mourning period for the ruler that will be, that things will go according to that. So we're waiting to see.
Okay.
All
right.
Okay, so I have the stories of the 210 trillion cash that was neither stolen nor missing. They said the buyer auxiliary-led Nigerian, that's NNPCL, has 21 days to explain what happened to 210 trillion cash that has not been accounted for. They said they have summoned him up to 4 times, and he has not showed up, but he finally showed up with an apology, which the committee accepted. But they've granted him 3-week ultimatum when he appeared before the Senate on public accounts. They said that the committee chairman, Senator Ahmad Wadada, insisted that the company-run oil must explain the queries on the funds whereabouts. Said the 210 trillion was neither stolen or missing, so he must give it. So he now said that he's just 100 days. That I'm just over 100 days. That's the auxiliary is now saying that he's just over 100 days in office as the GCEO. I still need time to do further digging. And he also said that he's going to set up a committee and get the details properly reconciled so we can work to provide answers to the queries. So he's saying that he's working on it and he should be given time. He actually wanted 4 weeks, but the Senate said no. We can't give you up to 4 weeks. It has to be 3 weeks. So they gave him 3 weeks, and so they're waiting for him
to come and explain.
Yeah.
Okay, so the Federal Inland Revenue Service, FIRS, says that it has discontinued the issuance of tax exemption certificates to all categories of taxpayers, including pioneer status companies, non-governmental organizations, and entities operating in free trade zones. There was a public notice issued by the FIRS. The tax authority said that the decision is part of ongoing efforts to ensure transparency and adherence to existing tax laws. So the issuance of tax exemption certificates have been discontinued. Consequently, no further tax exemption certificates will be issued, according to the statement. They also noted that exemption certificates that have already been issued remain valid until their expiry date. However, the agency said no renewals will be granted until they lapse. The agency also warned that going forward, all claims for tax benefits or exemptions must strictly comply with applicable laws and follow procedures approved by the FIRS. And any attempt to forge, alter, or misrepresent exemption status will attract strict penalties prescribed by the laws, according to the tax authority. So maybe they need to further explain, are they still planning to give tax exemption to such companies? Because I know all over the world, there are certain companies that have those tax exemptions. We just take the headlines here and do a short break. The Punch. Power rotation debate heats up as North reviews Tinubu scorecard. North splits over Tinubu marginalization claim. A 210 trillion audit. A Senate demands NNPC response in 3 weeks. Nurses shun federal government talks, begin warning strike today. State accuses federal government of sabotaging power sector decentralization. NIHO tour sets up panel to sanction tourism offenders. Olubadan Olakulehin for burial August 8. We'll be taking a breather here. When we come back, we continue the newspaper reviews. Stay with us.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Welcome back. Somebody started wearing glasses. When I started my own last year, she was laughing at me.
Don't sit with old people. They infect you with old age.
Let's move on now to the Punch. Who's ready?
So I have the story about the North, of course. They said the North splits over Tinubu marginalization. We are being marginalized. They said the political and civic leadership of northern Nigeria converged in Kaduna and had a meeting. They said it was a 2 days meeting. They said that some of them, they divided themselves. So some lauded Tinubu's development strides and appointments in the North. Others voiced strong concerns over what they described as growing neglect, insecurity, and economic exclusion under his watch. They said that the 2-day engagement brought together a powerful mix of former governors, traditional rulers, ministers, civil society leaders, technocrats from across 19 northern states. They said that so the Senator George Akume was there, ministers of information, Muhammad Idris, defense, all the list, especially the ones that were appointed during this Tinubu's regime. They are saying that, so the Senator Akume is saying that at least Tinubu brought about, his administration brought about the renewed hope agenda. He said the renewed hope agenda was more than a campaign, and that he listed core pillars under the renewed hope agenda: economic reform, national security, agriculture, infrastructure, energy, education, and he urged the northern leaders to show restraint and rally behind Tinubu's government as there are roads that are being fixed currently from the north, that's Abuja to Kaduna, and then there's a rail going on from Kaduna to Kano. And then, but then the ACF, that is the Ariwa Consultative Forum, declared that its disappointment with Tinubu's administration, accusing it of neglect and marginalization. They are saying that that the issues bedeviling the region, ranging from rising insecurity, dwindling agricultural support, poor infrastructure, and electricity supply. And they are also saying that at least 60% of the Tinubu's vote came from the north. So they are feeling neglected, and that they are saying that they should have a meeting and please call the attention of the president so that he can take note of this. I have an answer from the president, but he's in another one.
Okay. So I've got nurses under the umbrella of National Association of Nigerian Nurses and Midwives. The federal health institution sector have insisted that their planned 7-day warning strike will begin on Wednesday, and the members have vowed to complete the strike even if government calls for negotiations. The national chairman of NAM, Morakinyo Wiriwan, said that the government had 15 days to respond to their demands but failed to act. The union, July 14th, had issued that 50-day ultimatum to the federal government, and they were asking for immediate intervention to prevent a total healthcare shutdown. Some of the demands for the nurses are the upward review of shift allowance, uniform allowance adjustment, a separate salary structure for nurses, increased core duty allowance, mass employment of nurses, and the establishment of a nursing department in the Federal Ministry of Health, amongst others. Sounds valid to me. And the chairman is saying, as far as we're concerned, there has been no communication from the government to this moment. That is why we're saying the strike is going on and nothing is stopping it.
Okay, so I have the since Enugu Disco, Enugu Electricity Regulatory Commission have decided to break this table. There's been no peace. So there was a high-level engagement between the Minister of Power, Adebayo Adelabu, and the State Commissioners of Energy, in that meeting were also governors, all the governors' representatives, and they demanded full respect for subnational regulatory powers. So the federal government are saying these people are just going to set back all our gains. The government is, the states are also accusing the federal government of attempting to reverse gains of power sector by decentralizing, warning that their proposed amendment to the Electricity Act would erode newly granted autonomy and undermine Nigeria's electricity. So the Electricity Act had ensured that each state had their own regulatory commissions, and that they could now set tariffs and all of that. So Enugu Electricity Regulatory Commission went ahead straight up and reduced band A tariff from 209 naira per kilowatt an hour to 160 naira per kilowatt an hour, which of course has gotten a lot of reaction. The federal government rejected this decision. They insisted that state governments would then be responsible for covering any market shortfall or the subsidy that covers this. And the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission, which is the national body, also is maintaining that states lack the jurisdiction over the national grid and power stations established under the federal laws or operating under any ROC. So at this point too, even after I've thanked them, can state governments start to look into generating and transmitting their own power, because now they have their own regulatory commission? The reason is because some states like Akwa Ibom have no business waiting for national power. True. The gas is abundant, everything is abundant. Some states can stand adequately on their own. And they should start wielding this power so that we will know where the cost
probably is expensive.
And they don't want to take it on.
It's not that expensive.
It's not that expensive.
Lagos has done it over and over.
So let's move on now to the Daily Sun. Northern governors, ACF, disagree on Tinubu's performance. We've taken that. Obi blasts federal government's 187 trillion debt surge, warns of mortgaging Nigeria's future. 2027, you can't unseat Tinubu APC chair, Yelwata tells Atiku, Obi and others. Tinubu orders federal jobs, 250,000 cash award scholarships for 200 NYSC honorees. Tourism Disciplinary Tribunal kicks off under Justice Ishak Bello's leadership. ADC, NEC ratifies MARC, others as new leaders. Governor Bala Mohammed, role of journalism in nation building. What do we have in Daily Sun?
Our president offers jobs, 250,000 naira to outstanding core members. So our president has approved the automatic employment of 200 outstanding NYC members into the federal civil service. I think that deserves a round of applause.
Yeah, it does.
The president also okayed the payment of 250,000 naira cash to them in recognition of their exceptional service to the nation between 2020 and 2023. He also announced postgraduate scholarships for all honorees, including 10 physically challenged ESCOR members who sustained injuries during their service year and were likewise granted federal jobs.
Wow, that's amazing. That's amazing.
So they say the president's largesse was announced yesterday in Abuja, and he was represented by the Minister for Labor and Employment. The head of civil service of the Federation has been charged to immediately begin the employment process. So really, that's just it. There's also the names of the awardees as well. Yes, so and it cuts across all, different parts of the country. So just well done. I feel that this is a good response to some of the conversations that we had yesterday. This is so uncomfortable. So
you get used to it.
Yeah. So I feel that now this is what we mean. And it shows. It will show in many other ways. So this is a listening president of, obviously this is not only based on the conversations we had yesterday. This must have been ongoing, something that they've been planning. So well done, and thank you.
We have a new development, and they call it a landmark development set to reshape Nigeria's hospitality, travel and tourism landscape. The National Institute of Hospitality and Tourism has officially inaugurated a disciplinary tribunal to enforce ethical standards, licensing compliance and professionalism across the tourism and hospitality sector. And so this new tribunal will be headed by the former chief judge of the FCT, Justice Ishaq Bello, who's of course a very reformist judge, and they're looking at his experience to help reshape this. At an event, the House Committee Chairman on Tourism, Honorable Mukhtar Mohammed, commended NIHOTO, that's the acronym for the Nigerian Hospitality, Travel and Tourism Landscape Body. And he was commending them for being forward-thinking. He said that this will be a turning point in the collective resolve to promote quality, safety and global best practices. So now, with this body, you can, after getting a bad taste of anybody playing in this hospitality sector, restaurants, hotels, Airbnbs, you can make a report, and that it will now be taken up. Yes, it will be taken up. Also, the Minister for Arts, Culture and Creative Economy was represented by Mrs. Ayodele Adebanjo, but she also applauded it. He said it is about protecting the integrity of the industry and enhancing service delivery and building a tourism sector that we can all be proud of. So if it is for forward thinking, for progress, we support
So we have to run now. We have Vanguard and Tribune left, but I just want to highlight the stories that were ticked. So if you hear your name, doctors nurses threaten strike nationwide over poor welfare. That's for Vanguard. Our British High Commission CDS decry killing of 38 kidnapped hostages after ransom payment. Who has both? Then for Nigerian Tribune, we have stem cell therapy may offer regenerative cure for type 1 diabetes. Who's ready to go with?
Okay, so you didn't call the one for the reply of the Tinubu's.
No, we don't have time.
Yeah. That's so stem cell Tribune. Scientists have suggested that stem cell therapy may offer a regenerative cure for type 1 diabetes. They said stem cell therapy could be used to regenerate cells of pancreas that produce insulin, thereby restoring the body's natural ability to produce insulin and potentially eliminate the need for lifelong insulin therapy. Amazing news. There's a reported first case of a 25-year-old woman with type 1 diabetes that achieved insulin independence after receiving these stem cells.
Okay.
So yeah,
stem cell is not cheap.
It's not. But it's a light. Finally there's some hope.
So that you're not. I had one grand stepmother that year that was always on insulin. It cost a lot. Every few
And
days.
her lifestyle is
Yeah,
forever
you
changed.
see that jab on her thighs.
Yes,
Every few-
permanently.
It was painful. It cost a lot. I know. If they can, with time, all these things will become cheap.
By God's
As
grace,
more
yes.
research happens, different, there will be a sort of competition, hopefully. Thank you, ladies. That's all we can take on the newspaper reviews. When we come back, we have a special feature from Davidola, Nigeria. Stay with us.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.